I'm Amanda Tomsik here with ECRM, and I have Kelley Fechner with Datassential. We just finished up a amazing speaking session where I learned a lot about the Grocerant industry. So I have her here today. Thank you for joining us. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about Datassential?
Sure. Datassential, we're essentially a food consulting company. We're always tracking anything with food, whether it's in the grocery store, whether it's in the restaurants, and it's mostly about flavors. So what are those emerging flavors? Also, are people trying, have they tried things? Do they love or like different types of foods? So we're able to pull in a lot of different things, but it's anything that has to do with how consumers are eating, is the types of things that we're going to look at.
Awesome. And today in the speaking session you talked about grocerants, where they're headed, where they're at now, some of the challenges. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of those challenges that they're facing right now?
Yeah, the challenges, there's lots of challenges. I think the most glaring challenge is the growth of Instacart and Shipt. So the fact that people aren't actually going into the grocery store to do their grocery shopping then creates a hindrance to get consumers actually into get that prepared food, whether it's a sandwich, a salad, whether it's the complete meal. So that's the first hurdle, and we're starting to see a lot of restaurant chains do a lot of very different things. So we see bars in restaurants now. So you can get instead of grabbing your coffee and going grocery shopping, you can now get a beer. I've heard people say that they're doing date night at the grocery store, which is kind of just a new, interesting type of thing. Yesterday we were talking about having bands. There's a grocery store in Chicago that has an outdoor bar. So it's those types of things to try and get consumers in and try those new items. And we also talked today about the idea of the new flavors that are up and coming. So one of the most interesting thing is that grocery stores have all of the different flavors that you would ever see. So that's the one nice thing that the grocery stores can do is utilize those flavors that are actually in the aisles. Grocery stores have more flavors than any restaurant could ever hope or want to have within their restaurants. So they're primed in a good position.
Yeah, I liked when you talked about that. If you think about it, I mean, how many aisles are in a grocery store? They have the footprint to stock all of those items, and they're right there at their fingertips. So it's definitely something that was interested. What do you think some of the I guess where do you see the grocerant industry going from here? Once they actually get those consumers to come into the store, how do you keep them, and how do you think that this area will start to grow?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some challenges there, but I think adding in, again, taking that idea from what things are we seeing in some of the restaurants. So whether it's adding kiosks to order items, order your sandwiches, order even from the deli, or even cake ordering. You get through those stages, it makes it easier for consumers. There's going to be some consumers that are a little averse to that, but you're starting to see it more and more. There's some restaurants where you can have kind of little pickup areas, whether it's the food, they already have some of that for your groceries as well. So you come in and grab your groceries. So utilize that. But it is a challenge because some of the restaurants you're competing with are going to have drive-through. So how do you get consumers in and out quickly? The other one that is another good idea is that self-checkout that you have for when you're purchasing groceries. You could have that at the prepared food area as well. So really getting consumers in and out as quickly as you can.
Yeah, one other thing that you mentioned during the presentation was taking a simple item and adding something unique or different to it. It could be just a honey sauce or a chipotle mayo. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Thank you for that transition. Datassential, we always talk about safe experimentation, so that's what we call that. So we have a menu adoption curve going from inception to ubiquity. So it's taking anything that's ubiquitous, such as rotisserie chicken or fried chicken, and like you said, adding what we're starting to see is like a chipotle honey, so spicy honey. Just drizzling that over chicken creates a new and different, very interesting, unique item that might draw consumers back in.
Yeah.
We also talked about this idea, you could pick a month and we're gonna focus in on Korean flavors this month and have all of the different Korean flavors and having gochujang kind of throughout. The prepared foods, salad bar, sandwiches, all of those, and then have those flavors out there for consumers to try.
Yeah.
What does gochujang taste like?
Yeah.
And then you might also have, you know, the bottles up there, and you might get an extra grocery purchase out of it as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed the roundtable that you hosted yesterday, and then also the presentation today was awesome. So thank you for being here, and
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
all right.